So for today's edition of Things You Might Have Heard for the 7th of March 2025, this Friday, I got a little off. The slides were off, the things were off, and I couldn't figure out what the deal was. And the deal was I actually skipped a story. I had two Trump stories in between, so I had a Trump picture pop up while I was talking about a Trump picture and thought I was stuck in there, but actually skipped over it to read the next story. That was the story on Lesotho, and then realized that I was on the wrong slide and just advanced into what was going forward. The story I missed is actually a pretty big deal. So you're going to get it here. You're not going to see if you watch the full version of Things You Might Have Heard, so you can reply to your response to this one here. Trump issues last warning to Hamas to release all hostages as U.S. holds direct talks. We've talked about these issues before because they're not new stories. One, Trump saying release all the hostages now, new, true. Number two, Donald Trump and U.S. actually trying to negotiate directly with Hamas. But it's now come to head as the first part of the ceasefire is over, and the second phase should be coming into effect now. But Hamas is backing away, and Israel is saying, well, we're just going to stick around our troops here and keep fighting and keep blowing stuff anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Trump has issued an ultimatum to Hamas, not asking Israel to back down, but to Hamas, just saying, hey, release all the hostages now. Just let them all go, or bad things will happen. With the negotiations now going officially, more or less, between the U.S. and Hamas, not with third parties, this is a real shift in foreign policy because the U.S. does not negotiate with terrorists. As Trump says in the past, it's the thing where, we're negotiating. We're not paying them off like they asked them in the past. We're not just saying, oh, here's the money, give us stuff back. They are negotiating, and negotiation means from point of strength. If you don't do what we're going to say, bad things will happen. And that's more or less a paraphrase of what Trump said. Bad things will happen if you don't get this lasting ceasefire in Gaza by you releasing all hostages and all bodies right now. The group has accused, being Hamas, of Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu of attempting to evade the terms of the agreed ceasefire and just getting around stuff, which, if you're watching with your own eyes, pretty much is what it looks like. But right now, Trump is throwing out these terms. There's about 24 hostages that are left that are still believed to be alive, at least, by Hamas, that Israeli government will like back pretty quickly. And many bodies of people who have passed away in captivity, and some who died in initial stuff that they just hold on to for proof. We had the issue last week where the mother and her two children were returned and as corpses. Unfortunately, the original corpse of the mother was some random woman. But Hamas figured out who the right one to give and turned it in later on. It's ridiculous. I don't understand how things like this happen, but they do. These are larger than myself, and they are in the realm of one Donald J. Trump, and he's got to make them work. And so I have to support the president in doing the best he can to get things going on. Now, if he can do a little bluster and get things going and actually get all the hostages released and get a ceasefire, and maybe get a hotel deal in the Riviera of the Gaza, then more power to him. But from a standpoint of a person with 50 years in my eyes, this seems like a bit of bluster from a guy who's just a super duper egomaniac who thinks he can do things and is being shown in real time. They're not working, but because he cannot capitulate, he cannot admit he's wrong, keeps pushing forward. My hope is for the former and not the latter. I am praying, I am pushing, I am wanting our nation to be prosperous. I am pushing for Trump stuff to actually go well and do great things and not take away my rights in the process so I can, say I was wrong and live better for it. Right now, his policies, his bluster, and him calling out people doesn't seem to be working. Hamas is a terrorist organization. They are a network of people, not a nation, so they will do what they're going to do. And they have shown in very great detail their ability to not do what they're asked to do, come to agreement and then not do it. Israel, unfortunately, does that a lot as well. So with the United States pushing on Hamas and putting kid gloves on Israel, not pushing them both to do better together, we'll see if the ceasefire will hold. We'll see if a new ceasefire will come up. We'll see if hostages will be released anytime soon. We are all going to find out.